Back at home, feeling misunderstood. In between these ears, ain't nothing good.
Okay, now let's get back into Fact or Cap, presented by Fanatics.com. Go to the Fanatics link in our bio. If you saw those All-Star jerseys, I'm sure there's a discount or some deal running on Fanatics. Go get you one of those. We didn't like them going into it, but when you see them on the field, they look pretty good.
But they grew on us.
Yeah,
Say that.
They definitely grew on us for.
Also, Team USA gear. There's some stuff on there too for the Olympics. Get geared up. Be ready for all that too.
Yeah, hopefully we've got a lot of gold medal shirts coming our way. Hopefully that's something that they'll do. But Fact or Cap, we've gone after some heavy hitters the past few weeks. We've had 2 gambling scandals with Jordan and Pete Rose last week, and then I did the Phantom Punch, which involved the Mafia. And it turns out I ended up watching a documentary on Sonny Liston after we talked about that, and he was friends with like Lucky Luciano, who was second in command of one of the major crime families. So he was entrenched in the mafia.
He was that guy.
So it could, maybe he needed to pay some debts, and the Italians don't mess around when that happens. But this one, I'm going back to baseball, and we're looking at one of the all-time, I'd say, greatest records in sports history, and that's Cal Ripken's Ironman record. 2,632 consecutive games played in and started. And it's a hell of a toll on the body, it's a hell of a toll on the mind. But there might have to be an asterisk that we put there. Maybe like a tinge of, is
not
it
a Houston asterisk, but
No.
a footnote.
Yeah, there's no trash cans here, but there was a night in August, the Orioles were having a home game and they had to cancel due to a blackout. And somebody unplugged the power system and they couldn't reboot it, so the stadium, the $1 million facility, they were not able to turn the lights back on, so they had to cancel the game. And Cal Ripken, who was not going to play in the game, but since they canceled it, it didn't go against his record. He was still able to continue on and end up setting the Ironman. And there might be a little bit more to that story that maybe, apparently, his good buddy Kevin Costner, yes, that Kevin Costner,
the actor, yes,
Dances with Wolves, Kevin Costner, had some fun with Cal Ripken's wife. Being a normal human being, this would be very mentally distraught. We talked about it, you got to be mentally tough to do what he was doing. Didn't really feel like playing that night, so maybe the Orioles were like, we can give Cal a break, and this will help us out. We want to make sure that he gets this thing done. And maybe the Orioles were like, we're gonna figure out a way so that the MLB can cancel this game. Basically, they pulled a Bull Durham and went to the field and turned on the sprinklers too long. It's like, oh no, we got rained out, we can't play. So Cal can just go home, right? He can just go home and lay down, call his divorce lawyer or something.
Yeah, this is a very interesting one because look, I don't know a whole lot about baseball, but I know Cal Ripken. That's most general sports fans' knowledge of Baltimore Orioles. No offense to the Orioles. I love Trey Mancini and that story, but the Baltimore Orioles, it's Cal Ripken, and that's about it. And this record is untouchable. Like they're I don't think it'll ever be touched by anyone. I think it's just ridiculous how long this is. I am gonna go. I don't know about the sleeping with his wife, but I will go with a fact that the
Orioles probably did.
The Orioles did something along the way to make sure this streak happened, because it is, like I said, Baltimore at the time. I'm not sure what year this was, but it's not like this was the Colts.
1997.
Oh, so they had the Ravens by then, but the Ravens were a new thing. Baltimore didn't have a lot of sports. It was Cal Ripken's town.
Yeah. And
that record was the only thing that basically brought teams to the stadium, because it's not like the Orioles were that great of a team, or maybe I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. They weren't that great of a team, so that's the only thing anybody was holding on to. So I'm going to go with the fact that they
fudged the numbers.
They fudged the numbers. That they had a blackout to make sure that the streak kept going, because like I said, that it's having the lights go out in a baseball game. That is a 15-minute break
Yeah.
This ain't because Wrigley had the thing where they had never had night games, right? Until they added lights.
Wrigley's like 100 years old. That makes sense.
That makes sense,
Yeah.
but like
Baltimore Stadium wasn't that old to where they would have one circuit board, and if it blew, they were like, oh, well, we got to call Frank, and he only works from like 9 to 2 in the afternoon, so we're going to have to get him and see if he can come out tomorrow, and then he'll decide if he can do the job. It's just not, you know, it wasn't the other park that kind of had this happen. It's not Candlestick Park. Remember that 49ers game where the lights just blew out?
Yeah.
It's not that situation either. But yeah, I mean, I
You
also
could
think
have
that
figured
they're.
out something to play. Like
This was also during the time where baseball was going through the most cheating of any sport. Like who knows? Maybe Cal Ripken was, you know, not putting any rumors out there, but there's a good possibility he was doing something to make sure that his body could stay healthy. I've watched a documentary on his record. I'm not taking anything away from the guy, and I think you take advantage of whatever you can, but.
Who's to say that maybe it wasn't necessarily the wife thing, maybe it was an injury, maybe it was traffic, maybe it was something else that played into play, but I do think that there was definitely some fishy stuff that had caused it, because like I said, that record on a random baseball game one night, like there was no way that
you didn't want it to be broken by something that if it was going to be broken, you'd have wanted him to like dive for a ground ball and it ended up breaking his arm and he couldn't physically play or something.
That's
No, I know
pretty
that
cool.
you're not wanting for that, but that would be it's like the respectable way to go out. Like a soldier wants to go out in the field of battle. It doesn't want to go out because I slept wrong on my neck one night and I can't physically like turn my head something. So I don't know. I think that Cal Ripken's a Hall of Famer. It ended up working out for him, and in that situation, as a player, I'd do whatever I can to get that record. If I'm
the team too, like I said, the team too.
Yeah, you're never gonna get this close to doing this again. So let's take advantage of it. Let's go full throttle, and this will be the stamp that you're able to leave on history and on the game. And he ended up doing it. I just found it hilarious that they said Kevin Costner, as the baseball movie fan that I am. If you've seen Bull Durham, Crash Davis has a way with the ladies, and Kevin Costner played Crash Davis, so it just made sense. I was like, oh, of course, he slept with it. It reminds me of Major League when Wild Thing was in with Thorne's wife. He's like, I had no idea. I didn't know that was his wife.
Like baseball stories in like the 90s are so just like interesting because everybody was on steroids. Everybody was smoking cigarettes on the bench, and everybody
doing Adderall so that they could stay focused the whole time. Yeah,
that was a sore in the baseball world for a lot of years.
Robin Williams has that great bit where he's like, I slide in head first, and it looks just like a line of coke down all the way there. It's like slide in head first, like, oh, I'm up now.
Yeah,
it's the baseball. For as boring as the game is, I would say baseball might have the wildest. Them and hockey might have the wildest players off of the playing surfaces.
Yeah, I would. Dennis Rodman makes a good case.
That was one man.
Dennis Rodman.
That was one man.
Dennis Rodman makes
Dennis Rodman's in a league. Dennis Rodman's in a league of his own, just like the Phoenix Suns are in a league of their own when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah, there's Dennis Rodman makes up for a lot of people though. That's the one thing you gotta think about though.
Yeah, no, the fact that he missed practice, he could be on WCW Nitro and wrestle Hulk Hogan.
And had a 3-day break,
yeah.
and for a trip in Vegas, 72 hours.
They had to go drag him back from. Yeah, married Madonna.
And Carmen Electra. That's all I'm saying. I think Dennis Rodman can take the cake for a lot of players.
You know, I didn't know if I was going to bring this up, but I might as well. Devin Booker's voice bugs me because his voice doesn't match him.
Oh, it doesn't. He was so pissed off. Well, you probably heard about this earlier on. We recorded the day after this, but he's. Oh my God,
it doesn't all I saw because he was getting interviewed by everybody today. And it was the video where he was talking about all his cars and he was flexing, but I couldn't even pay attention to the facts like, which old coupe do you want me to bring out? I was like, dude, your voice. Who's talking for you?
He's a deep voice.
Yeah, it's like who's
deep voice.
Who's off to the side of the camera making that voice for you, man? Just speak your truth, dude. You don't have to be a tough guy all the time. Come on, D-Book. Since we're recording this before the finals, are we gonna be going longer than 6 games? We'll be able
No.
to. We'll come back tomorrow
I'll
night
say
and,
no.
and we'll decide if
I'll
this
say
was
no.
okay.
I'll say no, and I'll be an idiot when you hear this in 10 seconds.